Hi guys, I'm going to be doing a little tutorial today on how to make a Bitmoji classroom. So before we start, there's two really important things that you have to do. The first is I always get a personal Gmail account and I'm making things from that drive. If you're using like a school Google Drive or something like that, sometimes it has restrictions where you can't share outside of your district. So it will be great because your students will probably be able to see it and other teachers. But if a parent tried to log in or something and wanted to see it, sometimes the privacy settings are made so that they can't. So I think it's always just safe to make yourself a quick little Gmail account and you get a Google Drive. That's the first thing. The second thing is on your phone or your device, you need to make yourself a Bitmoji. So it's really easy. Just go to your store on your Android or your iPhone and download the Bitmoji app and you can have fun creating a little Bitmoji that looks exactly like you. After you have those two things in place, now we can start. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go up to your toolbar and where it says apps, you're going to want to show apps and you're going to want to go to the web store. And under the web store, you're going to search for Bitmoji. And this is going to come up. I already have it, so it says rate it, but yours will say something like add to Chrome if you don't already have it. You want to add it to your Chrome, and eventually your little extension will come up and it will show up in your little web bar right up here by your browsers. So after you have that installed, you're going to go back to your Google Drive, and now you're ready to make your classroom. We're going to do this in Google Slides. So you need to do New, Google Slide. And the first thing I always like to do when I get into slides, I do this every time no matter what, is I X out of themes and I always make my layout blank. So this is our blank slate and you are going to be able to use your imagination and make this classroom whatever you want to be. The first thing we want to do is pick a background, and there's a couple ways to do this. And this goes for any time we're inserting an image today. So I clicked on background and now I'm going to choose image. And there's a lot of different things I can do. I can choose an image to upload. I can choose one from the camera on my computer, by a website URL, something that I have in my photos, something that I have on my Google Drive, or a Google image search. The only two that I use are upload and Google image search. So I'm going to talk about those right now. Upload is something from your computer. So I can click on upload and I'm going to want to browse my computer. I have a teachers pay teachers folder. Anytime I download clip art or borders or anything like that, it's all in here. I really like Rainbow Sprinkles Studio. She has a lot of cute stuff. So I'm going to open it up, and let's say that I wanted to upload a cactus. I would just click on it and press open. And now it's uploading my image as the background. Obviously, that's not what I want for the background though. So I'm going to reset because we're trying to make this look like a classroom. Since I don't have any classroom backgrounds, I'm going to go to Google image search. And I want something to look like a classroom. But if I type in classroom, you're going to see that I have all these things come up. And you might want that for your background. I prefer to just start kind of a blank slate and decorate as I feel that I want to. So I'm going to do wall and floor background. And all these things are going to come up. You could pick one that kind of resonates with you. I like something simple. I'm going to pick this one. So you click on it and put the blue square, and I'm going to insert it. And now I'm done. If I like this background, and the way you can see is you can press present. If I like how this looks and I think I could work with this, I'm going to exit out of that. I'm going to go to the background and I'm going to say add to theme. So now every single time I add a new slide with this plus button, my theme stays the same. I might have to go in here and just lay out blank, but now I have these blank canvases to start my class. And you don't have to do that. If you want every room to be something different, you can do that also. So now we are going to, I'm just going to delete that slide so we don't get distracted. We are going to create our classroom. And the first thing you need to do is search for your Bitmoji. Sometimes I think it's easier to search on my phone first, find a Bitmoji that I really like, and then I type it in up here. For example, if I type in teach up here, these are the Bitmojis that come up, and I have to decide, do I want to be standing? Am I going to be behind a desk? Am I going to be behind a podium? Like, what do I really want to look like in this classroom? So it's completely up to you. A lot of the times I find myself, especially on the intro slide, using one where I'm just standing and pointing to something. So you have two options. You can either right click and copy the image and paste it in, or what I prefer to do, just drag it in. And there's my Bitmoji. So she's kind of just hanging out. Now the next part, you don't have to do this, but I like to. I crop just so all this extra space is kind of away. I'm not changing my Bitmoji. I'm not like cropping halfway through the body. I'm just cropping the extra space because I find that sometimes when you're putting a lot of things into the room, when you try to grab something or move something, if something has a lot of extra space, you sometimes grab things that you didn't mean to. So now I'm pointing to something and I have to decide, what do I want to be pointing to? And I think I want to be pointing to a whiteboard. So I'm going to not format. I'm going to go to insert an image. And again, I'm going to search the web. And I'm going to search for a whiteboard. And all these images are going to come up. You'll see that some of them you can't see. So you can press the little magnifying glass and see what it's really going to look like. Another trick is, if you look at this really quick, if I added this in and I can just drag it in, watch what's going to happen. It's going to have that green background on it that's just kind of not cute for this room. So I'm going to show you two things that you could do. The first is the easiest. When you search for something, whiteboard, PNG. PNG is an image that has a transparent background. So most of the images that it's going to show you are going to have a transparent background. That's not always to say that they do. Sometimes the computer does make little mistakes. But if I put this in, you'll see that the background is transparent. The other thing that you can do is go to a website. So I'm going to go back to that first picture I grabbed. And I'm going to put it in here. And I'm going to copy this picture. And I'm going to open up a new tab. And if I go to the website, remove.bg, it's a background removing website. I can upload or drop my image there. So I'm actually going to save this image. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to screen grab it. So I'm going to screenshot this image. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the image right here. So I'm going to upload it. And if I go to my desktop, the screen shot will be right there. I'm going to open that. And what this does is it removes the background for you. So now where I had all that green before, it's automatically removed it for me. So now I can download this. And now you can see it's down here as a screenshot. I can delete this out and I can just put this right in. And you'll see that I still have some stuff in the corner, but that's okay. I can get it out by cropping it. Oops. Gotta be careful. Sometimes you just want to pull the black bar, not the blue bar too. So I'll just crop this right out. And now I have a cute whiteboard and I can make it bigger, just like that. Obviously, the easier option is to just do PNG, but if you're looking for something Like, for example, if you don't have a Bitmoji, but you have a really cool picture of yourself that you want to use pointing to something, but you were in the woods at the time, you can go to this website, remove.bg, and you can upload that picture and it'll take the background out for you. It's pretty cool. All right, so that's a little trick. All right, so moving on, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pause my video, and I'm going to just decorate my classroom. I'm going to keep looking through images. I might take some clip art that I have. I find that I like to make it look realistic, or the more realistic, the better. So I'm going to just look for some things on here, and I'm going to decorate my classroom, and then we will go on from there. Okay, for the sake of time, I'm going to keep this one a little bit simple, but I wanted to show you just a couple of things. So the first thing I wanted to show you is that sometimes you're going to search for something. So I searched for confetti rug, and when I brought it over, as you can see, it's completely transparent and it's cute, but it's see-through. But I really, 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 really wanted to use that as my rug. So what I did was I went into shapes and I took the circle and I made a circle around this rug, and I got it as close to it as I could. And up here, using these tools, I made sure that it was filled in white, and I said that the outline, the border color should be white. And then I right-clicked and I did order. I think that's under format too, or arrange, I'm sorry. Order, and I said send backwards. So now it went behind that other picture, and now I have two pictures. What I can do now is place one on top of the other, and I can use my cursor to group these two together. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to make, oops, excuse me, I'm going to make a little box around them. And now you can see that everything else got highlighted, and I don't want that. So I'm going to press my shift button, and I'm going to undo everything I don't want as part of this. So I don't want my bookcase to be part of it. I don't want my whiteboard to be a part of it. I don't want any of that to be a part of it. I don't want myself to be a part of it or the whiteboard. All I'm trying to do is get these two shapes together, and I can move it. And if it moves by itself, that means that there's nothing else with it. The little computer behind it moved, and the window. So you can see my little window move. So that means that I still have stuff behind it. So I'm going to click on shift again. I'm going to click the window, and there is a computer behind it, but that's okay. I'm going to now press arrange group, and now these two are together. So I can see when I'm moving it and making it bigger, the white and the transparent will go together. So that's just a cool little tip. So I'm going to just really quickly undo that since I already have my rug. Okay, so now I'm back to where I started. The other thing I wanted to show you was don't worry if things are coming off the side of your slide. So like you can see for me, the rug down there is off the side, the flagpole, I put in a little window and a bookshelf. Don't worry about that, because when you look at your classroom, I'm going to press present, you can't see any of that. I think it looks a little more authentic because it looks like, you know, the classroom goes on besides what you can see on the screen. So I'm out of present mode and I'm back to my original classroom. Just a few more things I wanted to show you. I'm going to go to insert a text box. And I could write anything. I could write the date. I could write welcome. So I'm going to put welcome. And you can see that it's not very interesting, the text. So I'm going to highlight it. And up here, I have a ton of fonts because I've downloaded them all. The easy way to do is go to this little button, more fonts, and you just go through all these fonts, and the ones that you like, you just click on and you press OK, and it adds them to your fonts. So then you can go and you can look for ones that might be, you know, more geared towards what you want to do. So I'm going to do welcome with finger paint because It's going to be a kid's room. I can play around with all the colors. So I can make it like a maroonish color if I wanted to. And I can move this text box around. The other thing that you could do is if you wanted to add a text box for like a to-do list or something like that, and you wanted this to be separate, so I could say to do, and I could say read and flashcards. I can play around with the sizes, so I might want this to be a little smaller so that it fits, or if I don't want it to be smaller, I can just play around with this text box. And I can also play around with the border. So over here, this is how you change the text color, and you would change the border over here. And I could change the thickness of the border. I could change if it's dashed or has little dots or whatever I want to do. So right there. Okay, so you can make your whiteboard look however you want it to look. So I'm just going to keep this here for a little bit. The next thing is thinking about your classroom, what you want kids to actually do. Do you want this to be your entire classroom and it's just linking to a few things? Or do you want each to link to different rooms? And I'll show you an example of each. So we're going to just do a pretty simple one right now, but once you get the hang of it, you can kind of play around with it. So you'll see that I have a bookshelf up here and that I have a computer right here. And I really like using Zern for the kids. So I went to zern.org and I'm going to lift their logo. I'm going to copy it and I am going to paste this logo on to the computer. And I'm just going to size it until it fits. Oops. Okay, so now I have this logo. I'm going to group this with, I'm going to leave it with the computer because I want kids to know. So I'm going to group, arrange, and now I've grouped it. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm not going to group that, and I'll tell you why in a minute. I'm going to link that. So don't group it. If you group two things together, you usually can't link them, and we're going to link this because we want it to be an interactive classroom. So I am going to click on Zern in this computer here, and I'm going to press Insert Link. Now, because that's a picture, I can either link it to slides in this presentation, which I'm not going to do right now. I'm going to link it to a web page. So I'm going to link it to zern.org, and I'm going to press Apply. So now when the kids click on this picture, it's going to take them to a different website. I'm going to do the same thing over here on the bookshelf. When I think of books, I think of reading, and my class likes to use Epic. So I'm going to search for Epic Books just to make sure I get the correct link. And I'm going to take it right to the spot that I want the kids to sign in under. So where it says log in, they go here, they're a student. So this would be where they're logging in from. I'm going to take and copy this address. And I'm going to click over here on my picture of the books. And I'm going to do insert link. And I'm going to just press paste. And I'm going to apply it. So now you could go ahead and you could do that for everything. You could link the American flag to like a Pledge of Allegiance song you have. You could link your welcome to your own website. You could link this little Bitmoji of yourself to your personal class webpage. You can really do this however you want. It's really however much stuff you want in the room, and you just follow the same procedure. The one thing to be careful of when you're linking words, so where this says, welcome, if I wanted to link the words, it gives you an option for what you want the text to be. And then if I link it to something else, website, what happens is it changes the color. So you can play around with that a little bit, but it shows you that that's a link. It's really not that big of a deal, but it's just something to keep in mind. If you're linking text, it underlines it and it changes it. That's why I like to link pictures. So after you've got these things linked and you have everything else in your classroom linked that you want, you're going to want to give this a title. So I'm going to call it My Classroom. And then you are going to want to go up to File and you are going to click Publish to the Web. Now, all this stuff will come up. Don't worry about it. You're just going to press Publish. Are you sure you want to publish this selection? Yes. And it's going to give you this huge long link, which I think, is fine to share with families if you'd like to, but I have a better way and I think it helps us remember it a little bit more. So you're going to press Command C or Edit, Copy, however you want to copy this link. And you can X out. This is now on the web. And we're going to go to a site called tinyurl.com. The URL is the web address. So it says enter a long URL to make tiny. So I'm going to paste, and there's my huge long URL. You can press make tiny URL and they'll make one for you. But what I really like to do, and I find it helps me remember more, is I think of what I would want my web page to be called. So I'm going to just say Marshall Sample. And then you're going to press make tiny URL. And it might come back and say that URL is already taken and you have to come up with a new one, or it will say URL created. So now you can see that instead of having that huge, long web address, I have tinyurl.com/Marshall Sample. So I'm going to copy this. And you're going to see that if, I'm going to X right out of this, if I go to a new tab and I paste that in, it is going to bring me right to my Google Classroom. And you can see that some stuff I can't click on. You can still see my cursor, but then some stuff, when I hover over it, turns into the little hand. That means that I can click, and that brought me right to Zern. My bookshelf I had linked as well, and that will bring me right to Epic. I think it's fun kind of sometimes to put things in that the kids might not think are clickable, but then they really are clickable. For example, this was like a little sprout. Maybe you find, the tree. Maybe you find a life cycle of a tree YouTube video and you link it to that. So this is the basic way to do this. I'm going to show you one other way that you could do it. So I'm going to go into one that I've already created. So before I take you and show you how to do it, I'm going to kind of show you what it looks like. So I made myself a classroom using the same strategy I just showed you. So I went in and I picked out all the things I wanted to be in my classroom. I've linked some things. I linked Seesaw here. You can see that if I click on the American flag, I linked it to a Google Doc that has all important American songs and pledges on it. But the other cool thing that I did, so this one links to another outside. Here's our website. So all of these things are really great. But I wanted to make it so that the kids could go into different rooms for different purposes. So you'll see down here, I just, in my little image search, found these little mini chalkboards, and I put reading, writing, math, science, and social studies. If the kids click on reading, it doesn't just bring them to a website, it brings them to another room. So I'm going to click on reading, and it brings them to a reading room. And everything in this room has a purpose. So in the beginning of the year, when we're talking about retelling stories and kind of making connections, that's why all these posters are up. I can change those as the year goes. So if we're learning about nonfiction, I can change my posters to nonfiction. The What is Mrs. Marshall reading? I just made this by making a square, and I changed the colors and added some lines and changed the font to look like one of those boards. If I click on this, it brings me to an Epic book. If I click on the little rocket, the kids know that the rocket is for Raz Kids. I also added an icon in, which I'll show you how to do in a minute, up here, that brings me back to the home page. I can do the same thing for writing. math, social studies, science, everything brings me somewhere else. So if I clicked on this game on the smartboard, it's going to bring me to Greg Tang Math, which is a really cool site we like to use in my classroom. So everything has a purpose. So right now I'm going to show you how to do something like this. You're going to follow the same exact protocol we did for the last one. You're going to make your room. But this time when you go to link something, don't worry about linking it to an outside web space. So what I did first was I went and I made all my rooms. I made a reading room. I made a math room. I'm still working on my science room and a writing room. And there's a social studies room. And there's going to be a calm down room if they need it. So I went through and I made all these classrooms. Now what I can do is instead of linking reading to an outside web space like we were just doing, when I click on it, I can choose to link it to another website. So when I linked it, I linked this to slide 2. So I'm going to show you. I haven't done one for specials yet. So I'm going to just add in a new slide. And here's my background. And let's say I was linking this to gym class. So I'm going to just change this. Let's see if I could choose a different image for my background. And I could do a gym. Maybe if I searched gym class or gymnasium. Here, I'll just use this for right now. Okay, so there's the gymnasium. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this really quick. I'm going to add my Bitmoji. So let's see if I could find, let's type in out. Or I wonder if there's one with a whistle. Let's see, I could do one of cheering. I'll make myself saying teamwork back here. I'll be standing in the back over here saying yay, teamwork. All right, you get the idea. So I will be over here cheering on the kids. So what I would want to do now is I would go back to this first slide and it says special up here, gym. I'm going to highlight the word gym and I'm going to go to insert and I'm going to link it. But this time, instead of linking it to a website, I'm going to link it to a slide in this presentation. So I'm going to click on slides in this presentation. And it was slide 8, I believe. I'm going to link it to slide number 8. And I'm going to press apply. And the really cool thing about doing this is that when you change one of these pages, I don't have to go publish it to the web again. It automatically changes. So if I went back to my tinyurl.com/Marshall class for this one, I can now look and it will have gym highlighted and it will bring me to the gym. So the really cool part about this is that if you wanted to change if you wanted to leave everything else linked and always the same and you just wanted to change, the date every day and what you're going to be learning about, you can. It will automatically refresh for the day. If you're learning about, like I said, nonfiction, or if I go in the writing room, if we're not learning about story mountains anymore, we're learning about poetry, I could decorate this to look like poetry, and it would stay the same. The last thing I want to show you before we're all done is this cute little icon and how to get back. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I think it's really helpful to the kids to get back to the home screen. So you could just do it with a picture, any picture like we've been doing. Like, for example, I could click this ABC chart and I could press insert a link And I could always link this back to the next slide or the first slide in the presentation. And anytime a kid clicks on that or a parent, they will go back to the first slide. But I like there to be a little icon. So if you go up here to add-ons, you can do document add-ons. Oops, I'm sorry. Those are the add-ons I already have. So go to get add-ons. And you can search for icons. And flat icon is going to come up. I already have it installed, but you'll click on it and install it. And then what you can do is you can go to add-ons and it says icons for slides, press start. And now I could search for the home icon. And it brings me all these little homes. If it has this little crown, it means it's the premium version. So I could say like, oh, this is cute. And I can click on this. And you could change the color if you wanted. So I could change it to green and I can press insert. And now I have the little home screen over here. I can make it as big or as little as I want. And what I can do is press it and press insert. Oh, sorry, I right-clicked. Insert link. And I'm gonna always link it to the first slide because that's like my home base. And I'm gonna press apply. And I could then take this and just copy it onto each slide, and it will always take me back to the first slide. So if I went and I looked at my classroom right now and did the tiny URL / Marshall class, let's say I went to the reading room, there it is, and I click on this, and it brings me to the home page. I picked a sparkle to do instead of the green home button. You could click whatever you wanted. You could even probably find an arrow or something like that. So that's pretty much how to make your own little Bitmoji classroom. You can always email me if you need help at kmarshall@lowell.k12.ma.us. And I hope this was helpful. Have a great day.